All right, it's Fast Five. Let's get to our first topic. The Berkeley County School District is not negligent, according to the courts, according to a jury actually, in its corporal punishment case. Now, in this case, corporal punishment is defined as making a student walk around the playground during recess as a punishment. Is that corporal punishment?
I mean, does that mean, walking home from school is corporal punishment? I would think not.
Well,
Well, who brought the claim up that it was?
The parents had claimed that walking in this form required by the teacher was painful each and every time for the boy to endure, and that their son had missed middle school due to heel pain.
He must have done one heck of a lot of walking.
Like I say, how long did they have him walking, I guess?
I would say something around 10 minutes.
That's nothing.
Okay.
And we're
I walk
back
on the
to
treadmill
why
longer.
the country has obesity problems.
And why we are the most litigious society in the world.
No kid.
Like you can't walk for 10 minutes. And the kid's out on recess. So like you're supposed to be
Yeah.
That
playing
was probably the
tag
whole
and running
recess.
around. Right, you're supposed to be playing tag and running around anyway. So like if you have to walk. And the question is, why do you get in trouble? And did his parents discipline and punish him for why he got in trouble at school? No, they're turning around and suing the school because they actually decide to discipline their child.
Yeah. Okay.
And epidemic across the country.
Yeah.
All right. Mike Guessford, school board member, made a request of the Board of Education to get a list of every expense that Dr. Wilcox spent under his allowance. Now, allowance is not things for him personally necessarily, but he has apparently a spending limit up to $50,000. Above $50,000, he needs to go to the board. And he wanted to see the actual checks and documentation around every expenditure from those 3 years for a year. And it was declined by the board because it was estimated that it would take 2.25 full-time employees an entire man year to get the documentation.
I object to your term, man.
Okay. Person year.
Thank you.
What do you think?
I mean, come on, really? What is he thinking? He knows that's a outrageous request, and why would he even try to get something like that approved for Public Information Act request?
So I guess, okay, Carl, what say you?
Seems unusual to me, that's for sure.
I mean, is he intentionally just trying to waste my tax dollars? Because that's sure what it seems to me.
Janice?
Is there, I would want to know what the root cause is behind this.
Yeah.
Because does he have suspicions that things aren't in alignment and he's purchasing things or acquiring things he's not supposed to? Or why does he want to have an audit of all these expenses?
Well, and I would assume that the board has some kind of audit regardless.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you need to go above and beyond that unless, to me, you should have viable cause for such a request in order to make the request?
And here's his specific request, and quote from Guessford, "I know you have the ability to write checks up to $50,000. I want to see every check amount, check date, the item that was purchased for fiscal 2015 and 16 to the present." So that was the request. So
Sounds like a chest beating competition to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
put it nicely.
obstructionist politics. He just wants to cause problems.
all right, so let's go on to the next one. There was a Supreme Court throws out the death sentence from an all-white jury in Georgia. There was a jury in Georgia that sentenced an African-American gentleman named Timothy Tyrone Foster to death, and the Supreme Court threw it out because it was an all-white jury. Good idea, bad idea?
I think we need a little more context on that. So was it a clearly, hey, we're just racist, or was it, was there a, preponderance of evidence here?
So the case is 29 years old. This guy's been on death row for a long time. and this opens the possibility for him to get a new trial.
Okay.
Okay.
So-
If it just simply opens up possibility for me a new trial, and honestly, if it's 29 years old, I'm actually okay with that, because I would rather see an innocent person get retried. I'm sorry, I would rather see a guilty person get retried than an innocent person get put to death.
Get put to
I would
death.
agree with that.
Okay. All right. Governor Hogan is cleaning up more than just the state operational piece. He's also rescinding executive orders, larger than anyone in recent history. He rescinded 72 old executive orders. These are laws that were on the books that, in his judgment, just didn't make any sense. The oldest dated back to 1970. We've all heard of laws, crazy laws that are left on the books. Is this a good idea, or is he overstepping his governor bounds?
Well, he's probably not overstepping his
Yeah.
authority, and whether or not they're good ideas would depend entirely on the executive order and the impact of having them rescinded. It might well be
Right.
that they could use rescinding.
Well, you know,
Possibly not.
I'm always nervous anytime, you know, be it a president or governor issues an executive order, because there's a very fine line there. Are they writing legislation, or are they merely, providing appropriate guidance on how to interpret legislation?
And that's the whole point, is that you have 3 branches to any government. It's like you've got the judicial, you've got legislator, and then you've got the presidential, governor office, whatever it is. And it's like, it's to hold all of them in checks and balances so we don't have a dictator. An executive order, to me, seems much more along the lines of dictatorship.
But that's writing. Rescinding, once the executive order has been issued and it's been in place for a number of years, then at that point, there's a whole mechanism involved in enforcing whatever that is.
Right.
So what are the implications of actually rescinding it?
Well, and I couldn't find an exhaustive list of what was rescinded, but I assume that the ones
There
that
may
were
be
published.
absurd ones. We don't,
Yeah,
don't know.
most of them look pretty absurd to me. So, I'm one of these people that if you're going to have rules, follow the rules. If you're not going to follow the rules, get rid of the rule.
Right.
Yep.
So, okay,
Exactly.
last topic. President Obama commutes the sentences on 42 nonviolent drug offenders, over half of which had been sentenced to a life sentence. What do you think?
Personally, I think it's great, because if they're nonviolent, and if it was just a drug charge, let's end the drug war already. All right, the drug war was a failure. Let's end it.
So, this latest round of commutations brings his total to 348, more than the last 7 presidents combined. Now, we haven't gotten to the magic day, because you know what they do the last day in office, right?
There's a bunch.
They sit down and sign commutations. Anybody worried about that?
Nah, I'm not worried about President Obama putting dangerous criminals back on the street because of this.
Janice?
I think we've had this discussion before, where if somebody gets caught up and gets addicted to drugs and they get busted for drugs, really is the best solution to put them in jail for life, or is it to get them treatment and get them dealt with and get them help and to get them off of drugs? Because putting them in jail and having to pay to keep them in jail for the next 50 years is only punishing us.
Ken?
I agree with Janice 100%. I
Okay.
mean, absolutely, don't keep them in jail.
Well,
If they're addicted to drugs, give them treatment.
Okay.
Don't punish them.
Let's look at another issue, though. We were just talking about executive orders and presidents and governors overstepping and trying to do things with executive orders that perhaps weren't necessarily proper.
Right.
Certainly, they have the constitutional authority to do that. Presidents have the constitutional authority to commute. But is he, at the same time, circumventing the role of the judiciary when he does that?
Or is he fixing a broken judicial system?
Well, that sounds like a good excuse for an executive order to me.
Well, that is a
That's the
question.
same- that's the same
That is a
reasoning.
question for another segment on another night, because we're out of time on this one. Stay tuned, because we will be back in 3 minutes for Last Call.